friends, I'm attorney Aiden Durham with 180 Law Co. in Colorado. Welcome back to All Up in Your Business, where today we're going to talk about, number one, can you change the address for your LLC and how you might go about doing so. Before we get started, if you're new to All Up in Your Business, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe and click that little bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. And be sure to check the description for links to additional information and resources. And while I am a lawyer, I am not your lawyer. My videos are not a substitute for actual legal advice. If you need any help with your business, you should consult with a lawyer who is licensed in your state. So I've done a couple videos in the past, like I did one about why it's bad to use a PO box for your LLC address. I've done one about kind of the benefits of using a virtual office address for your business. And these videos have prompted a lot of comments and questions from you guys who are like, oh shoot, I didn't realize my LLC address was going to be part of public record and I used my home address. Or shoot, I didn't realize I shouldn't be using a PO box. Or all of these other situations where you're like, oh crap, well now can I change what I've done? I put this address when I formed my LLC. Turns out that's not the address I want to use anymore for one reason or another. Can I change my LLC address? The answer is yes. Of course you can change the LLC address. That would be kind of wild if the laws were like, nope, one address and one address only. Once you form your LLC, that's it. You can't change it. You're stuck. That's not the case. Of course, you can change your LLC address. You can change pretty much everything having to do with your LLC. Some of it's more complicated to change. Some of it's easier to change. And luckily, for the most part, changing the address falls more on the easy change. Of course, because LLCs are formed at the state level, the states control and form these things. The laws regarding the LLCs and the actual process for updating or making changes are going to vary. Each state is going to be a little different in terms of how you go about doing this, the name of the form that you use, the fees involved, all of that stuff. Every state is going to be different. So that's why it's best to consult with a lawyer who's licensed in your state or the state where your LLC is formed. And now I am only licensed in Colorado. I do not know the laws of all the states. I don't know all the forms of all of the states. So I'm going to base most of what I'm saying off of Colorado, but I did a little bit of research to find some additional information for some of the other states as well. So if you're trying to figure out how do I change my LLC address, really the easiest, best resource I've got for you is good old Google, or I suppose your favorite search engine. What I would suggest doing is type into Google your state name, LLC address change, and see what comes up. Usually the first or second result is going to be from the Secretary of State's office or the agency or government body in your state that handles LLC formations and registrations and stuff. And then that should help guide you to what exact form or what needs to be done. But in pretty much every state, there's going to be some form that we can submit to update or change our address information. In Colorado, we do this by filing a form called a Statement of Change, changing the principal office address if we're changing the LLC address. If you need to change the registered agent address, that's a different form, but it's still a Statement of Change, changing the registered agent address. We can also update or change the address when we file the periodic report every year. Colorado also has a really similar form called a Statement of Correction. You might wonder to yourself, what's the difference between a change and a correction? Ultimately, not a whole lot. In the end, with Colorado at least, if you submit a statement of change versus a statement of correction, the end result is that the address is going to be whatever is that you input in that form. Technically, a correction would be if you input the address and it was the correct address, but maybe you typed it in wrong. You flipped numbers in the address or something, and you need to correct that versus actually changing the address to something else. Many other states might have similar forms where they differ differentiate a change versus a correction, again, you'll want to consult with an attorney who's licensed in your state if you're not sure which one to use. So that's Colorado. I did a little bit of digging into some of the other states that I get a lot of comments from these states. I couldn't research all 50 states, I'm sorry, but I researched a handful of them. So with California, we update the address by filing a statement of information, which we have to file anyway every 2 years in California. But if you need to update your address in between those 2 years, you can file a statement of information to do that. In New York, we do this also with a certificate of change, and you may also be able to update the address with the biannual report that New York requires you to file. So every 2 years, you have to file a report with New York. I haven't done it myself. I don't know, but I'm assuming you can update the address in that report as well. Florida makes it pretty easy. They've got just an online kind of web form to complete to update the email address or the EIN for the LLC, or again, you can do that when you file your annual report with the state of Florida. In Texas, they want you to update the address with the comptroller's office rather than like the Secretary of State's office. So there is a form with the Texas comptroller that you submit to update your address in Texas. Wyoming has a similar kind of just generic update form that you use to update your address if you're registered in Wyoming. And then Delaware, everyone loves Delaware. Let's all form our companies in Delaware. If your LLC is registered in Delaware, you actually don't need to update your address in Delaware. Delaware apparently doesn't really care about what your principal office address is. They only want your registered agent address. So you only need to update your LLC address with the registered agent. So the registered agent has the correct LLC address. So I know that's just a few states. Again, I don't know all of the state's rules, but most states are going to have some change form or some information form or some update form that allows you to correct or change your LLC address. Again, if you have no idea where to start, go to Google, type in your state, LLC address change, and go from there, and hopefully you'll find some good resources. We don't want to just stop after we update the LLC address though. We have our business is often registered with multiple agencies, multiple government bodies, multiple people who are overseeing and governing our business, and they don't always talk to each other or share information. Just because I've updated my LLC address with the Colorado Secretary of State, for example, if I have a business license or some kind of permit or something with the city of Denver, the Secretary of State for Colorado isn't going to notify the city of Denver to update my address with my licenses or anything, or my bank accounts or any other merchant accounts or government accounts, licenses. If you're a licensed professional, like maybe a hairstylist, a nail technician, a lawyer, any licensing agency, we have to update our addresses there as well. So just keep in mind, it doesn't stop with the LLC, and that's always going to vary depending on your state, county, local jurisdictions, and any requirements you might be subject to there. And then finally, we're going to want to update the IRS of our address change, of course, because we want the IRS to know where our business is located. We don't want any IRS notices getting sent to the wrong place. That would be bad. Again, luckily, this is an easy change to do for the most part. Most of us can use Form 8822B is an address update form for businesses. You can also use this to update the responsible party for the EIN for the business as well. Or if you have your tax filings are coming up and you're about to file taxes, you can update your address on your, next tax filing as well, and the IRS will accept that too. So overall, changing your address, your LLC address, there's not a whole lot to it. Typically, it's going to be a pretty short form, not super involved, not super complicated, maybe some filing fees associated with it. And we want to make sure we cover all of our bases, updating not just our LLC address, but any other agencies or governmental bodies or anyone else who needs our new address as well. That's all for this episode, folks. Give me a thumbs up if you learned a thing or two, and be sure to subscribe and click that little bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. And like I mentioned, I've got a couple other videos more about LLC addresses. One of them talking about why it's not always the best idea to use a PO box for your business address. If you want to learn more, you can click right here to check that out. I'll meet you over there. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Aiden Durham, and I'll see you next time.